Ladies and gentlemen, we're now ready to start. If you can find a place to stand or sit, that would be fantastic.
But yeah, so my name is Brian Munz, and I've been with Qlik for over 5 years. And I came in right around when extensions were introduced to QlikView. And I had zero BI background, which I think is one of the reasons I was brought in, because looking to see how web developers can approach a BI tool and how we can maybe, you're opening this window to JavaScript and to web technologies, so how will a web developer approach that? Basically, then that led to QlikSense, which is to say we opened everything up with the APIs, and out of that came the developer relations team. So what is the developer relations team? Our three kind of core values are innovation, collaboration, and evangelization. So evangelization kind of falls into everything we do. So anything we do should be showing the possibilities of the platform. The innovation and collaboration piece have some caveats there where we're not just sitting there building things for the sake of building things. We need to be making developers successful in some way. So even, so Alex over here has built the SenseIt Chrome extension that you all may have seen. If not, you should check it out, where you can go out to a website with a table on it, you hit a button in your Chrome browser, and it automatically creates an app on the fly for you. That kind of thing is a very cool kind of project that you can see up front, but the behind the scenes nature of that is we'd like for web developers to take that project and expand on it, because in that project there's concepts like how you create an app on the fly, how you pull data in, and how you do all of this within the context of the API. So usually what you probably won't see is just dumb demos. I mean, sometimes if it's kind of cutting edge stuff just to prove out the platform, but usually we want to somehow enable developers, even if it's just a kind of a pet project of sorts. And within that comes a collaboration piece, which is to say we may be approached, or we may approach a company with a that has a cutting edge technology. We want to see how we can integrate with that, and as well as collaborate with developers on Branch. But generally, the overall story is we're looking to make developers, web developers, successful on our product. So we also deal just with a lot of questions around how to approach the whole topic of APIs. So the way I kind of like to think about when we open up the APIs in QlikSense and the extensibility of QlikSense is it turned a lot of things upside down, in my opinion, where this is kind of a concept that's been tough to grasp for some people, which is the possibilities of QlikView. Before, you had this pond, which is the BI pond. So, you're thinking of the BI pond, which is that you have the smaller amount of players, and they're all in this area, and BI is kind of a limited scope, right? It's all looked through the lens of BI. What is this product doing for business intelligence? What is it doing to analyze data in that way? And that's good, and that's great. And so even with QlikView, when extensions came to be, you're still within that confine of a piece of software. I feel like with the APIs, it's kind of opening it up to everything else. So, it's harder to kind of, for a sales guy to go and take this thing, but what you're actually doing is you're saying, you're out of BI. So when you look at QlikSense, the engine, as more than just a BI tool, and you can look at it as an analytics tool, and you can look at it as a filtering tool, and you can look at it as just search tool, that opens you up to everybody. And in that way, it kind of makes it a bit silly to look at Sense as just a BI tool. Within the APIs, it's no longer, when extensions came out, people would use it as sort of a footnote at the end of their sales pitch and say, oh yeah, we can also fit in, this cool extension that some nerd built, where it's kind of a footnote, where now this is a huge part of the product. It's just as big as everything else, in my opinion, but of course, I would say that. So to me, that spoke to a completely new approach for how we look at the product. So we went to a few hackathons where there was, straight up web developers. We did a survey when we spoke, and we said, who has ever heard of BI? And there was 0 hands. And business intelligence, and there was like 1 hand. And in these, they just weren't sure what it was and things like that. And then they would come up and ask, so in this hackathon, you're given a task to do. You have, I think they have like 48 hours, and everybody stayed up all night. And they have a task to do, and so they come to you and say, what's Qlik? And so, we'd go into the normal spiel of, oh, there's this product in green, white, gray, and charts, and they just sitting there like bored, checking their phone or whatever. But then when we get into a certain piece of it, we get into like the associative nature of it. We'd start showing the the search and filtering. Then they'd immediately light up and say, oh, you're blowing my mind, because this is what I need for my project, and great, I'm out of here. They'd say, how do I do this? And they'd take off. Where there's aspects of our products that may not seem impressive in the BI world, such as the speed of 100,000 rows of data being sub-second time. But in the web world, and in some technologies, that's huge. I mean, we were showing them, and they were just like, this is crazy, especially because the way we hook in to some of the web components, a lot of, it's not as much anymore, but some of the old school developers are used to query-based, so you have to actually set that all up in code, go like that, and with us, when you hook everything in, when you make the selections, it all comes back and it happens automatically, and that's pretty cool to a lot of developers. So to me, the approach that you need to take for your average developer is you become less Qlik-centered, which is to say you don't just come up and say, I've got this awesome thing, wait till you see what it can do. You say, what are you looking to accomplish? What's your project? And they can lay it all out. Chances are that project has data involved. And then you kind of see where you can fit in, and you become one of the tools in the tool belt. And then we feel confident that our tool is going to be one of those powerful tools. So to me, that's one of the main sea changes, which is, stop kind of thinking in that BI lens and maybe become more broad in our thinking. So that kind of all leads to what do we do now that we have these APIs? And Qlik Branch kind of grew organically out of the extensions, and what do we do about them? All of us would build stuff, and you put it on community, and then in community there'd be the post with the extension, and then there'd be 20 posts about how you write something in your load script or whatever, and it goes down all the way off, and then there's different versions of it. So you're getting emails of people having problems with your extension, but it's 3 versions back. So it became pretty clear that we need a place to aggregate everything all together. So this was still pretty early on, and basically we were looking to kind of jumpstart the whole community, get everybody in there, and have it all in one spot. So from that came Qlik Branch, and from Qlik Branch came developer relations. So Qlik Branch now, it was very much a startup. It was very much a site done quickly on the cheap and things like that, because basically we were exploring this concept. Are people really going to share their stuff in an open source manner? We're not an open source product, but one of the requirements of Qlik Branch is that you share all the code that you make, or else you're not on there. So, are people going to do this? Are people going to see the value? Or are people going to actually see our APIs as viable? Are they going to build things? So, the way it first started out is we had, I think, 400 people the first day. In a few months, we had 1,000, and now we're up to about 5,000 people. So, to that extent, it was very successful because we had tons of projects. Lots of people download stuff off of it. They're not afraid of, the open source nature of it. I think kind of the ecosystem is ready. You still get the questions of people saying, is Qlik Branch supported? And you just want to say, well, is Mongo supported? Or is the load scripts that you put in all of your apps, are those supported? Where it's the case of, you're using this piece of the product, and if you want support, you can actually go to somebody who submitted on the branch, potentially, which is something we're going to work on improving that communication, and get them to support it, and then that person gets money. The idea of being a Qlik consultant in the developer realm becomes gauge traction, etc. So, and again, it spurred innovation, and overall it's kind of just proved that this experiment of proving out the idea of approaching developer community is successful. So the problems with Branch as it is now is the user experience is really rough. We leveraged kind of an old technology to get it out there. But most importantly to me is there's no sense in there. We don't have it, we're not using sense to filter the projects, we're not using sense for the search, it's not featured anywhere on the site. And we're supposed to be this site for developers, we're supposed to be a developer relations site. So, it's kind of silly to go there and someone asks how you're actually bringing up the data, and it's not a good conversation. It's also difficult to interact and collaborate. So to that extent of working on projects or to find the developers to work on your projects, etc., it's not super easy. And also there's just kind of a lack of information. There's no communication piece for us to talk to the community. So in the future, we're looking to change all that. Basically, we're looking to in short, we're going to change the UX user experience and completely simplify it. We've used Sense wherever appropriate, so Nick will show this, but all of our projects now are filtered based on Sense because, if you take a project and you categorize it, you tag it, Sense becomes very useful, especially if you start searching on it. You can just bring up everything. You're looking for a map that just comes up. You don't need to start navigating through things. You can find what you're looking for very quickly. So in that way, I think it's going to show off the power of Sense. It's also, blistering fast. You don't have to sit there and wait for the page to reload. And then also, again, we want to enable developers. So we're looking to roll out a sort of a resource center, which will contain tutorials, code bits, and tips and tricks. Which again, I think we're going to split it down into smaller bite-sized pieces because then you tag those pieces. Not everybody wants to sit through a 3-day course on how to learn how to build extensions. So some people are just looking for bits and pieces. They can come in there, use the Sense engine to sort of bring back what they're looking to bring back. And that's going to be coming, not sure, by the end of the year. Basically, one of the main tenets of what we're looking to do is get the overall community involved. So the Resource Center I just mentioned, all of that's not just going to be supplied by our team or Qlik internal people. If there's a web developer out there who comes up with some cool bit of code that's useful, they're going to have the ability to log in, submit it, and get that up on the Resource Center, and potentially they can gain credibility or points. We may, gamify it, and you can get yourself some actual attention in the branch, which can help if you're looking to consult. And another piece of that is just connecting developers to users. So there's lots of people, users who have need for this stuff, but they're not sure where to find them. So we're working on kind of a place where sort of a request bid format. Someone comes in and says they need X, Y, Z. If you're a developer that can provide that, you can raise your hand. That connection is made, and everyone rides off into the sunset. But the main piece is that looking for a cohesive experience. We want to, just to say, we want Qlik Branch to be the place to go, kind of the developer community. You come in there, you can see a blog post about this or that concept. You can go to the Resource Center. You can find the projects off of Branch. You can talk to the other developers. So we're just looking to build this community, and we believe Qlik Branch is the way to do that. So everything that comes out on Qlik Branch and everything that we do on Qlik Branch should be enabling that community.